fan up here. That we were going to fall, just cut it over around. I don't even make that much of a difference this way.
Yeah, they're off.
What's that?
Yeah, I turned them off because people call me while I'm on the air. So.
Statements and opinions made on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its affiliates. Fighting corruption with Anthony Greco. Fighting government corruption, the real gangsters.
Greetings from the corrupt criminal enterprise we know as Nye County. I am Anthony Greco, and this is my show, Fighting Government Corruption. Okay, I have an announcement before we do anything. Services for Anthony Tony DeMeo will be on Saturday, August 3rd at 11 a.m. at the Pahrump Nugget. If anybody wants to pay their respects to Tony and to his wife Linda, that would be nice if you showed up 11 o'clock on the 3rd of August. I want to knock out all the rumors going around and how Tony ended up passing away. And some of the rumors I heard is, which is horrible, that they said because he died of AIDS, which is a lie. They said that the mafia killed him because they finally found him. Listen to me. If the mafia was looking for you and you were in the newspaper all the time and everything, it would take about 20 minutes to get somebody over here to do that. So let's stop all the nonsense. The real thing that happened was Tony was moving a piece of gym equipment in his house. I saw a picture of the equipment. And there was a bar going across, I guess to hold it steady or whatever, and when he picked his head up, he caught the back of his head just below his skull, and it was just a freak accident. He ended up dying of a brain bleed. In the hospital, they had put him into an induced coma, because when you either have a stroke or you have some kind of brain bleed, they usually put you in an induced coma so your brain can heal. And he just never recovered. So that's the story that I got from the family. And if you want to pay your respects to him and his wife, it'll be August 3rd at 11 o'clock at the Nugget. We have one more Sunday before that, so if there's any changes, I will let people know. Okay, let's get into my normal stuff. Today, if you're weak in the knees, we're going to be talking about racism. I have the Italian flag behind me. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about racism. Before I do that, Mississippi candidate, I think he's for governor, refused to ride in his car for 14 hours campaigning with a female reporter. Okay, they thought it was horrible that he wouldn't do that, but in a way, I thought he was very smart. Because someday, and he's a young guy, and someday, if he decides to go further in his career, how do you know that he could trust this person? I'm not saying this person, but it's hard to trust people today because they may bring up some things now. They know that he'd be riding around with this woman And then if she comes up with something that he sexually harassed her or raped her, there would be problems. And he was very smart to try to avoid that. And I'm not picking on a woman that turned around and wanted to go with him, but I think he was very smart in doing that. And I'll give you, for instance, when I first moved here 21 years ago, if I saw a kid walking in the street and it was very hot, or an older person or a woman walking, almost anybody walking in the street, I would ask them if they needed a ride, and even if it was out of my way, I would take them, because, you know, walking a couple of miles in heat like today is horrible, and it could cause heat stroke. It could kill you. So I used to do that. But when all of these things, when I became political and I got on the radio and stuff, and people were saying horrible stuff about me, I avoided a problem by not picking up anybody. It's a horrible thing. I feel bad when I have to drive by them, but we have to protect ourselves. That's just the way it is. Unfortunately, people like to make up stories about people, and you need to protect yourself. You have to do it. It's a horrible way of living, but and it's not friendly, but people turn on you for their own gain, or for what reason, I have no idea. It could be political or not. So it was on the news for about 2 days that he refused to drive around with this woman, but I don't blame him. Last week I talked about jury nullification, okay, and to get this information, here's the page that I took. It's hard to see, but I'm going to give you a website address. And this is the history and effects of jury nullification. And why I brought this out is, it says right here at the second column, it says corrupt prosecutors are the judges, and judges are common. Okay, so that's why jury nullification is important. If you want to know more about jury nullification, the website is www.fija.org. fija.org. Their phone number is 800 TELJURY. Tell jury. That's some important information. Everybody should know what their rights are. Okay. Just a funny thing. September 20th, over 1 million people are supposed to storm Area 51 to find out what's going on in there, and the Air Force is telling them to stay away. Do not do it. They will use deadly force if they have to. All right, so buckle up. We're going to start talking about racism, and this is the Webster Dictionary, College Dictionary. It's the 3rd edition, and I hope, because I'm dyslexic and I don't read that well, small print, that you're not racist and call me stupid. Okay, so because everybody's racist if you don't. Let's see what we have here. Okay, racial and racism. Racial of or characteristic of a race. Second one is of or between races. Okay, now, this is in the dictionary, so don't say I'm a bigot and all that stuff, which I've been called a bigot and a racist by Judge Lane before my trial. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted him to recuse himself. But he called me a racist and a bigot because I put a complaint in that he was talking about his religion while he was on the bench. And you're not supposed to do that. Okay, ready? Nigger. Dial or slang for Negro. Okay. The term nigger is used today, acceptable only in Black English. In all other contents, it is now generally regarded as taboo because of the legalities and races and the hatred. Okay? Now, if you ever been to jail or prison, and most people haven't yet, but they'll get to you. Black people tend to use that word with each other. And I actually wrote it in my book, Casino Dealer Trigger Man. And when I was in holding, we were on a child line, and one guy walked up with another and said, "Hey nigga, how you doing?" And the other guy turned around and says, "I'm not a nigga, I'm a black man." And I looked at him and said, "That's the smartest thing I heard since I got here." So it's right in my book, it's in print. And the reason why I'm talking about this, and I have the Italian flag behind me, all right, because every nationality, there is racism against them and from them. I don't care what you say, everybody has a little racialness in them. And I'll tell you a couple of stories that happened with me. But do I think that President Trump is a racist? I really don't care. What do you think about that? I really don't care. What I care about is that he turns around and keeps his oath of office and protects the citizens of the United States of America. What his personal beliefs, I don't care. Do I think Barack Obama was a racist? I don't care. It's that simple. I want them to do the best thing possible. Am I a racist? I would say no. And the funny thing about it is, here's a racial statement that most people say, I can't be racist, I have a black friend. Are you kidding me? You shouldn't even bring that up. If you're friends with people of color, why would you even have to mention it? They're just your friends. Doesn't make a difference. I have Irish friends, English friends. Should I tell, hey, he's English. I'm friends with him. Stop trying to worry about this racism thing. It's dividing our country apart. And politicians use, when they have nothing bad to say about you and they can't figure why you're not doing a good job, the first thing is to play the race card. Well, let me tell you something. Anybody that's using the race card, anybody, you're not that smart, and you are a racist if you have to use a race card. Now I'll tell you a little story about me. Italian flag. My whole family, the Grecos and the Cozies, have never, in the 250 years that I could check, has never had any bloodline other than Italian and Sicilian. Does that make us racist because we didn't marry somebody out of the Italian or Sicilian heritage? Are we racist because of that? We don't like other people? Is that why? Or it just happened to be that way because that's the circle that you traveled in at the time. Of course, my family came from Italy, so they're going to be all Italians, okay? And the ones that came from Sicily, they're all going to be Sicilians. But because when we came to this country, that we didn't marry anybody from a different heritage, does that make my family racist? Think about it. Okay. They're talking about this squad, and everybody's a racist other than them because they're women of color. If they were intelligent and smart, they would do a good job and it wouldn't make a difference what nationality they were. They would only be looked at for the job that they're doing. So who's the racist here? Do you think that the people at the Trump rally were racist because they said send her back? Is that racist because they said that? People tell me all the time, go back to where I came from if you don't like it here. I'm from New York. Okay? Yeah, Trump said go back to where you came from. See, the media doesn't give you the whole story. Go back to where you came from, fix that place, and then come back here and tell us how you did it. Is that racist? I have no idea. It's up to you to think that. It's your opinion on who's a racist or not. Don't let anybody tell you that somebody's a racist. Find out for yourself. Okay, is Trump not a racist because he used to hang around with and give money to Al Sharpton, who was friendly with Trump because he had the Scooties, cash? Okay. Jesse Jackson. I don't know who else. But Trump, I keep telling you, they will do anything to discredit him. Was, like I said, do you think that Barack Obama was a racist? I know one thing, I don't think that he made our racial tensions any better. I actually think that racial tensions got worse when he became president. Because I don't think that people I know weren't talking about racism before he became president. And all of a sudden, it looks like we stepped back. Do I respect what Martin Luther King Jr. did for us? Yes, I do. Was he perfect? No, I'm not perfect either. There's only one entity that's perfect. That's the Holy Trinity. Okay, so who's perfect? Nobody. I guarantee you everybody has said something that was not correct, or maybe not politically correct. And we're tearing our country apart over political correctness, and we need to stop. Okay? The people of power who control things, the elitist ruling class, are the ones who are dividing us. And that is a problem. We're too busy worrying about what we say, what other people are saying, the media tearing somebody apart for the words that they used, instead of looking at what they do. And that's the important thing. Well, all these people turn around and say that this one's wrong. Well, let's put it this way. The Squad said that Nancy Pelosi, who is way left of center in her political views, they said she was a racist. And the funny thing about it was, Donald Trump stood up for Pelosi and says, that was wrong. Nancy Pelosi's not a racist. Now here's a woman that wants Donald Trump impeached and imprisoned, and he's standing up for her, saying that the Squad should have not called her a racist. Is she? I don't know. I think she's a little off the beaten path of what reality really is. I don't think in that terms. I don't believe that we should have sanctuary cities, because remember, there's nothing wrong with immigrants. It's how they come here. My whole family's immigrants, right down to my mother. They came here the right way, and they came here not to change the United States of America. They came here from Italy and Sicily to live as Americans and live the American dream. So why would they change it? Why is it that everybody has, well, not everybody, but most people, especially people who believe in socialism, have nothing good to say about the United States of America? Yeah, are we a flawed nation? Sure. Have we made mistakes in our past? Sure. But we are a nation that's only 243 years old. And in the grand scheme of things, that's like a 5-year-old child. Does a 5-year-old child do things that are wrong? Yeah. So what happens? Do we want to, what's going to make us, is socialism going to make us perfect? I don't think so. Is fascism going to make us perfect? You know, there's fascism on both sides. Fascism is total control. Donald Trump is not trying to control everybody's life. Okay? I don't care what the media tells you. That's not what he's all about. He's about making the United States of America respected, have a great economy so people have jobs. And he's not saying to the companies, hey, don't give any minorities jobs. We just want the white people to have all the money. He's not doing that. He brags about all races doing good in the workplace and getting jobs. He actually made fun of men, okay, saying that women filled 60% of all the new jobs. And he was telling them, I'm going to get sued now because the men are going to sue me. Of course they're not going to do that. But I'll give you, for instance, of my personal experience with racism. By now, everybody knows that I had tow trucks, and I did towing and road service for AAA, Allstate, Amoco, and all that stuff. And I had field reps for AAA, you know, all the different motor clubs you have field reps for. And there was a guy, and I'm saying his words. He was sitting in the office, and my brother came to work for me in 1990, and it was good working together. And we were sitting there, and the field rep came, and we were talking. I forgot what we were talking about, but the only thing I remember in the conversation was, I don't know how we got on racial stuff, but he says, you know, an Italian is just a nigger turned inside out. He said that to me and my brother. I looked at my brother and I just grinned. I didn't even get mad. Like I am now. I was lost for words. This is a guy that used to come to my office on a weekly basis. Okay? And I was doing a good job. How he got into that, I have no idea. But I turned around and said a couple of weeks ago, my friend Ralph is Italian. He lives in Tennessee. He lives in Murphyboro, Tennessee. And he was a cop there. And they were talking, and his superior officer said to him, they were talking about something. He says, something about him being Mexican. And he says, well, I'm not Mexican, I'm Italian. And he said to him, he said to Ralph, his boss said to him, what's the difference? Okay, so is that a term that he was saying because he thinks that